This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
It'll be lovely to catch up with Niko Pajarillo right now from Kayo Sports. There's no off-season with Kayo Sports. Get on board today. Niko, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks very much for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Niko. You know, Shaun spent the last 5 minutes trying to work out how to say your last name. Is that common for you?
It is. Look, it's a difficult last name to pronounce. You know, Spanish Filipino. It's not easy, so I don't blame anyone.
Yeah, that's the Spanish thing.
Our producer goes, let's chuck it onto onto YouTube and see how they say it. But the only pronunciation we could get was a Spanish person going.
A fully Spanish one with Pajarillo.
Yeah, because that's completely different.
If Shaun said it like that, it suddenly would be like he's in a telenovela.
I would have liked to have heard Shaun have a go.
It would have been mangled any which way, by the way, Niko. Hey, mate, I want to start off by saying, talking about yesterday, Australia's performance at Optus yesterday here in Perth.
It sucked.
When I turned it on and I saw that I missed the start of it, I thought, this isn't a T20 match, is it? Because we'd only posted 120. We were pathetic.
Yeah, we got 140 all up. That's disgraceful.
Yeah, it was really, really disappointing. It was tough going. Look, I understand that, look, we had 5 test players out, no Cummins, no Hazelwood, Smith, Stark, Labuschagne, all out. But really, I don't feel as if that's an excuse, guys. As you mentioned, all out for 140. And you mentioned earlier, Shaun, Pakistan's first series win of any kind in Australia in 22 years. Really, it's tough going. But I'll tell you what, it sets up this T20 series, this T20 International Series coming up starting Thursday on Foxtel and Kayo, the second game on Saturday and the third on Monday. It makes that even bigger because, like, that's like they'll be out for revenge, right? They'll be playing with a bit of fire in their belly, won't they?
They should be.
Oh, they certainly will be.
Were we bad or were they good?
We were bad.
We were bad.
Okay.
We were bad.
So we batted badly and then we bowled quite badly too.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you win over a good team on their bad day, then it's not really a win. I suppose it is officially a win.
You'll take it.
Hey, Niko, are you at the airport by any chance? There's a bit of noise going on, and I know you're heading to New York.
I'm sitting at the gate right now. In fact, I'm getting a couple of glares, so I'll try not to project too much here. But no, I'm on my way to New York to cover UFC 309, which takes place this Sunday, of course. Jon Jones, the greatest UFC fighter of all time, he's back in the octagon. Is this his last fight? That's the big question, right? I was talking to the Nova team in Sydney just a little earlier, and I was likening it a little bit. Cast your minds back to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, right? And people were going, this might be Messi's last World Cup. This might be Ronaldo's final tournament. It's kind of got that same vibe here. I feel like this is kind of the combat sports equivalent. So trust me, if you guys haven't seen Jon Jones, do yourself a favour, guys. Tune in this Sunday.
So you're right. You're right in that world. I want to know what's your opinions on Joe Rogan, because you know he's superseded the job which he does. Because when you see him do his actual job ringside interviewing people, it just doesn't make sense, because I know him as Joe Rogan before I knew him as that.
Well, that's where he kind of started after his comedy.
What he still does. What do you think about Joe Rogan in the UFC world?
Well, he started out on Fear Factor, didn't he? He was that guy.
Right. Oh, my God, he was.
All the Daredevils and all that, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So, he sort of. You're right. He's sort of he's his own kind of. He's his own kind of monster in a good way, right? He's got such an influence over, not only the world of combat sports. Well, yeah, exactly. It's interesting. Like he had a very big hand. Like people were giving him credit for, the results in the recent election, such as his political swing, which is weird because like he started out like in the 2016 election, he was a big Bernie Sanders guy. Yeah. But now he sort of flipped on that a little bit. But no, it's kind of cool. Speaking, non-politically, Joe Rogan, I guess, like you can credit him with a lot of the success that mixed martial arts has had, because in the early days, guys, you'd remember like MMA and UFC was seen as like this barbaric human cockfighting type of thing. But Joe Rogan was the guy who came in as this commentator telling people, no. When they go to the ground, you actually see there's a lot of technique involved and there's nuance here and there's sort of a beauty and a discipline to it, right? So, Joe Rogan, I feel, is as big, you could credit him with the success of the UFC as much as anybody else.
Wow. So he legitimised it.
Yeah, he knows his stuff, which is really good. And he's his own personality.
People believe everything. His followers believe him 100%. Even when
they're
it's
followers
factually
in every
incorrect,
sense.
They believe him.
He's a bit culty.
Yeah. And to have that much power in that...
Culty,
But to have that much power in this election... Because really, I mean, people are saying one of the mistakes that Kamala did was she didn't go on the show. Even though Donald didn't go on heaps of shows, but she didn't go on. And it's true, like, that's where basically the heart of his people live.
I guess he was the opposite to Taylor Swift. She had her power, and he had the other end of the power. But on this fight, it's going to be unbelievable. And you mentioned the UFC guys and how barbaric it seems from the outside. Every time we've got a chance to interview one, we've had the Volk, we've had a lot of them in here over the journey, Niko. Geez, they hold themselves really well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I feel like there's this kind of like there's sort of a stigma that's certainly been broken, I feel, in the last few years, especially with a guy like Alex Volkanovski spearheading the Australian charge in the world of mixed martial arts. You know, it's interesting because like you see these guys and what they do inside the octagon or inside the ring, and it looks brutal, but like realistically, you think about what any martial art is, and the basis of the foundation upon which it's built is discipline. It's respect for the gym. It's keeping your gym clean. Respect for your teachers and the people inside the dojo or wherever you might be training. So really, a lot of these guys are so down to earth, and it's sort of like almost the reverse of like footy mentality, where you might it might be the reverse. I mean, you guys are not sure, especially you know a lot more about that than I would, but it's sort of like it's built upon this kind of like you are nobody until like you really prove yourself. So you'll find that a lot, especially with Volk having fought in Perth, and he's really endeared himself to the fans in Australia, particularly over in Western Australia.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's different for us because we're really nice on there, and then when we're off air, we just lay people out left, right, and centre, mate.
That's right.
It's just like a trailer body.
Coat hangers in the
wait for you to
hallway.
say your name. Just boom. You looking at me?
Hey, Niko, enjoy your flight, mate. I hope you have a great time in New York, and UFC 309 is going to be absolutely huge. You can get it everywhere you look. Kayo, obviously, and Fox Sports. Enjoy the flight, mate.
Guys, thanks for having me. It's going to be a cracker.
Bring us back a
Nico.
present. See ya.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Quick around the grounds just to wrap things up. Perth Glory yesterday at home went down 5-0.
Oh, no.
my
God.
God. It's going to be a
Do
long
they have
year
a
for them.
goalkeeper? Because didn't they lose like 6-1?
I believe he was
couple of
late.
weeks?
He got there in the second half and the damage was done clearly.
And he's 5'2".
I hope they can really turn it around. They were
So do
hopeful
I.
that there was a bit of traction after the last week's game where they drew one apiece.
Did they get close to even scoring anything? Because now I know the game.
I don't know.
Because of Welcome to Wrexham.
Yes.
That's
No, that was an
that's
absolute
a long
walloping, mate.
game to be on a side that's not scoring.
Another team from Perth who got a walloping with our Perth Scorchers in the WBBL.
Okay.
Lizelle Lee, who plays for the Hobart Hurricanes, personally smashed 150,
That's
which is a record in the
extraordinary.
women's competition.
Well,
So
right.
this is Big Bash,
Big
2020.
bash. And she big bashed
So
our
in
bowlers all
20
over the place.
overs, she scored 150.
Do we still have that
Work
thing
that out.
that Mark McGowan put in place that we can say no to if they come across
Yes,
the border?
exactly.
We're going to have to. No, we'll just
That's
single out the
amazing.
one player.
And the
Come on,
Scorchers
mate.
have been doing well.
Yes.
So that it's not like they're not easy beats, but that is an extraordinary effort.
The Wallabies kicked off their spring tour over in Europe, playing
we did.
England at Twickenham. 70,000 people going, absolutely mental. We're ranked 9th in the world. We've been terrible,
We've
right?
sucked big
Nobody
time.
knows any of the Wallabies' names anymore. They've just fallen so far down the run.
Wallace.
And we won. We beat
We
England
won.
first
Great.
cab off the rank.
That's great.
It's amazing.
So this is the starters of something big, Shaun?
Yeah, well, that's a big turnaround.
They've got a really young team, so it's going to take them a while. I wouldn't imagine. Look, if they had a couple more successes on this tour out of that'd be a big result.
There was
for
some
them.
young kid that's crossed over that was
Joseph Suali.
That's the one.
He was the
He did well.
player best
What's he cross
on
over
ground.
from?
He came from the NRL.
Yeah.
They paid him like millions of dollars to go over and play from Sydney Roosters over to swap and play rugby union.
Millions of dollars.
Millions, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's,
Wow.
The Perth
At least they're doing
Wildcats
well. Good on
won on Thursday night, which we talked about, but then they had to travel over and play Melbourne United. And at half time, right, they were up like about 12 or 13 points.
They got.
were
I think they were
dominating.
16 ahead at one point. They did really well.
They were dominating. All of a sudden, they decided in the second half they won't score, and they'll allow Chris Golding to just go on an absolute
Tear.
rampage.
Yeah.
And he scored 46 in an NBL game.
That was my idea, actually. I got a phone call from them and said, have you thought of anything we could try? And I said, well, have you tried not scoring?
Have you tried not
And I said,
guarding?
just in case.
He dropped 9 3-pointers. 9. He couldn't miss.
It was 6 in the third quarter, Nat, and it was a training drill, right? So
It's amazing.
You'd be playing on him, and he'd just do a loop around another player, throw the ball, and you just do a backward step, bang, and shoot it. And then in the end, this is what really
It's a
me going.
momentum game, clearly.
Really
The
shirts you.
momentum
Yeah, it really
really
shirts
swung,
him.
didn't it?
he's a small guy, relatively in NBL standards. He was driving to the hole, which is normally not his go, and he was getting the and one. So someone should have been just fouling and stopping him from scoring full stop.
Okay.
Don't let the ball go on the hoop. Run into him, knock him over. Who gives you?
Yep.
stuff.
A shirt. Who gives a shirt?
And stop him scoring 46 bloody points anyway.
You know
Our team went
46.
down.
Shirt, yeah, Shaun.
Yeah.
Shirt,
46.
And finally, the AFLW final for the Fremantle Dockers was a success
Well
down
done,
Fremantle
girls.
Oval.
Well done.
Emma O'Driscoll was so fantastic.
Yep.
Her and Mim Strong were the two best players on the ground.
Mim
and
Strong
Emma
is
started the
an
game.
unbelievable player.
She's
She's the ruckman, and she is incredible.
She had over 50 hitouts in the game, which is Aaron Sanderland's type of territory.
And Em, when she's in here, she's just brilliant. And just to know that she's, the shirt.
Also, she's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She was
Incredible
fantastic.
effort.
Fremantle
So
are
who do they
away
play
to
next?
play Adelaide this weekend, and that is obviously another semi-final,
tough.
but it's a knockout, winners out, losers out. The one problem that they're having, like their endeavour, I've said it a long time, it is unquestioned, and they're just unable to get that connective piece because they dominate the play so much.
Yes.
They should be goals and goals ahead, and in the end they had to come from behind to actually win it, which is quite bizarre. The other team, Essendon, had their moment, but that was only in the third quarter, but Fremantle by and large should dominate. Hopefully they can travel and play particularly well.
All right. Good luck
it.
to the girls.
Shaun, that was really informative.
Thank you.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.